My boyfriend and I had an argument over his marriage demands, and now he claims he means none of it. TL, Doctor, my boyfriend of 2 years has a list of requirements for me after we get married, and after our argument over it, which lead us to break up. He said he didn't mean any of it and wants to go back how we were. I'm writing this because I'm incredibly confused about what to do right now and would really appreciate some advice. Also, apologies for typos, English isn't my first language and I'm incredibly sleep deprived. On March 1, 2026, my boyfriend, 25M, and I, 23F, had a big fight over a comment he made about marriage. We have been together for almost 2 years. The fight just popped up after one of our arguments, and it left me questioning a lot of things. First, 3 things about me. I absolutely loathe cooking. I would only do it for basic survival, and if I could live off water, I'd do that. Not to say I can't cook, but I don't enjoy it. The only reason I even make anything is because I miss my mother's cooking, and since I'm not living with my parents, once or twice a year I cook to cure my homesickness. My only dream in life is to build my small dream house. Anyone and everyone who knows me knows that these 2 are the only things in my life that are constant, including my partner. So he and I both come from very different cultural backgrounds. He is from Haryana, and I'm from Jharkhand, India. For both of us, this was our first long relationship, and naturally it had its ups and downs. We are in love, and all seemed well. He had even mentioned marriage in the past, and almost always the only obstacle we had was convincing our families, well, mostly his father, because his father had always preached the concept of arranged marriage and was against love marriages. But I always thought we would convince our families somehow when the time came. Given how I am not planning on getting married anytime soon, it is still a long time away. We are still too young, and we are both working on our careers. Neither of us wanted to hold each other back. We currently live in Delhi, and he is supposed to be promoted. His office is being shifted from Delhi to Bangalore. It's still in the works, and we were talking about long distance and how to go about it, considering neither of us are big fans of LDRs and I am currently preparing for government exams in Delhi and can't move. During this conversation, we even considered that maybe LDR is not suitable for us and maybe we should peacefully and mutually call it off. It was a really sad conversation, but it was respectful. Obviously, we were devastated but still trying to find solutions to make it work. We didn't mind waiting for each other, and I even told him that as long as he wants us to last or give it a try, we'll try to find a way around this. He was also on board with the idea. Out of nowhere, he started talking about marriage and started listing off things like, I'll have to wake up at 6 a.m., do housework, cook for his parents, pray, and manage everything while working. For a moment, I thought he was joking to make light of the situation and trying to make me laugh. But no, he was adamant about everything. He started off by saying that we wear only traditional clothes at home and that I couldn't wear shorts or pants or even jeans around his parents, and it obviously rubbed me the wrong way. I was instantly like, nope. But then in my mind I was like, how often do we even have to stay with them? A few weeks a year? I can manage that, not a big issue. But then he dropped a second bomb. He wanted everyone in his family to stay together forever. In the beginning, I was like okay, I've always known he was a family guy. Lots of people want to stay with their family, and it was honestly not a big deal. My only issue was not immediately. So I casually told him that as long as we get a few years to ourselves, like 4 to 5 years, after we've both stabilized our careers, I would be fine with moving in with his parents or having them move in with us. But he refused that, saying that I'd be breaking apart the family and we'd be bad kids to them. That really confused me, as none of my family members live with their in-laws. And from what I've seen, everyone is happier that way. Still, I tried to reason with him, saying that it's normal for couples to live apart for their entire lives, let alone for 5 years. On this, he got weirdly defensive, and even I got mad. On top of that, he started insisting that he didn't want his mother to cook anymore and since I'll be there, he wants me to do that. Which really ticked me off because he knows that I hate cooking. And even if I didn't, it's not possible for me to be working and also taking care of cooking at the same time. So I suggested that if he has so many issues with his mom cooking, we could hire a cook and I'd even pay them myself. Again, he was insistent on the fact that I'll have to do the cooking myself and that they don't like hiring help for food. Also, not to mention that his entire family is vegetarian and my entire family comes from a long line of meat lovers, myself included. He had opinions on that too, saying I couldn't cook non-veg food at our place later because his parents don't eat meat. I even suggested 2 separate kitchens if that was the problem, but even to that he said that's not possible as it's not very appropriate. Again, that was the very first time I had heard someone describe that as inappropriate. He said he could compromise on everything, but I'll have to cook. By this point, I was obviously livid because he kept quoting that plenty of women cook, manage the household, and still work. I mean, kudos to those women, but I know that I will never be able to be one of them. And frankly, I do not wish to. At this point, we were both angry because I kept throwing out middle grounds while he refused to take any steps forward. It really shook me because he was never like this before. His parents themselves are pretty chill. They both cook for each other and even have a routine where his uncle makes the sabzi for the day before going to work, and his aunt wakes up later and makes roti and sends a lunchbox later to him. It's very cute. They have struggled a lot and finally made their dream home just 2 years ago and are planning on retiring soon. They even especially told my boyfriend that they wouldn't interfere and live with him after his wedding and that they're happy where they are. So these bizarre requests are not from them but from him only. And when he wouldn't budge from his requirements, I started asking questions. If he wants his parents to be with us, and if I get a job in a different city where he can get transferred for a while, will he again make his parents move with us? Or will he choose to stay with them while I go there alone? I asked him what he would do if me and his mother had an argument. Will he at least support me? Because of our age difference and the fact that I'm just going to be doing my master's next year while he has completed his, my main hustling period would be in my later 20s, he hopes to get married within 2 to 3 years. I asked him, will he be willing to manage our relationship during that time? Will he accommodate my career like I'm doing his at the moment? Will he help me with all the chores he mentioned? Because he's actually a better cook than me. And he just countered them by saying, why are you already thinking about the negative things? So many more things were mentioned during this conversation like my parents will be your parents, blah blah blah, which I zoned out because it ended with the subcontext of me adjusting to them. Again, I was livid. Because he spoke about adjusting and how everyone does it. I kept reiterating that I'd be the only one adjusting, and we argued some more about it. Anyway, that day we both called it off. I said I can't be that girl, and we won't be happy in the long run. I spent the whole day crying and venting to my brother and best friend and anyone who would listen, actually. It was pretty pathetic, but it's my way of moving on. 4 days went by, and then he called me and wanted us to talk about it again. He told me, I don't know what I was thinking when I told you all that stuff. I was frustrated and it just came out that way. He even said we could get a cook and that his parents wouldn't say anything about my lifestyle or hinder my growth, not that I'd ever give up my career. I called him out on a lot of things, and he did respond to them. He apologized and said, my only wish is that my parents live comfortably in their later years. And he said he wanted to go back to how things were. We were too unprepared, and the moment we realized that our futures were a little different, we ran off and ended things. Honestly, these are the things I had already expected to accept from any family. And had he told me this way before, I wouldn't even think twice before saying okay. Plus his parents are genuinely sweet. Yes, they may have some opposing views on things but overall they're very kind people. But after his reaction, I feel like that's the life sentence I'll be walking into if I go back. Especially since it's not anyone else, but only him who wants that future. I love him very much, but I also love my dreams and the way I am. I can learn to do a lot of things and adjust where required, but I hate to be the only one at the end of the short stick. I can't move forward before I know for sure that he is also moving forward with me. On the other hand, I also know him, and I know his apology was sincere. But I've begun to doubt whether he really expects that of me or not. My best friend, 23F, and 24M, think that I should not even talk to him and kick him away for good. Even my brother said that it sounded like he wanted to scare me off. I had brought this point and asked him if he said all this to end our relationship. He said no, and that he spoke to his sister about us and even went back to our conversations and realized that what he was asking from me was unfair and that it's not possible to expect that from anyone. He then asked us to get back together, and I told him that I needed some time to think. It honestly hurts so much when I think of us ending, but I also don't want this hurt to become a lifelong regret and live in a future where I do things I don't want to, especially since I'll be choosing that myself. I'm so confused. Should I believe him that it was just an unpleasant argument born out of frustration? Or is it a pattern I cannot see because I turn into a literal fool in the name of love? I would really appreciate any advice or perspective from people who might have experienced something similar or can see this situation more clearly than I can right now. What should I do,